Welcome back, my math monitor students. In my previous video I have done some basic transformation of sine and cosine function. We are going to do some advanced transformation. Let me adjust my camera. I hope it's good. Okay, this time we are going to do the phase shift left right. Previous one we did the vertical stretch shrink, horizontal stretch shrink, and now we are going to do horizontal left right, which is called the phase shift. Okay, let's start with the basic easy questions so that you will not get confused. Then we'll do some complicated questions. Yes, my way of doing is little different than other teachers, but it is the easiest one you can ever find. So if you follow this method, your pre-calculus AP will be brilliantly good. Okay, so if you see like a normal function, if you can easily say that the whole graph is moving right by pi by 4, right? So your teacher say, oh, it's moving right by pi by 4, nothing complicated in that period, there is nothing is changing, so period should be 2 pi, and you can get your graph easily. But I would suggest do it this way, that way you will get all the coordinate points, all the zeros. That is more important, because while graphing, getting zeros or all the points is more important. So how to get those? So you can write the period. Yes, we know that the period is 2 pi. Still, I am writing it down this method because this will help you for the complicated questions. We know the period of sine, it starts from 0. It starts from anywhere, but I always take it from 0 so that you'll get the points. So do this way only, 0 to 2 pi. Okay, now solve for x. That means I'm adding pi by 4 to both the sides. So it will be x, and it will be 2 pi plus pi by 4 will give you 9 pi by 4. So what happens in this case? Yes, period is 2 pi, but there is another way of finding the period. Will be upper interval minus lower interval, 9 pi by 4 minus 9 pi by 4 minus pi by 4. In case you cannot find the period by other method. Other method is also very easy. 8 pi by 4, which is pi by 2 pi, not pi by something. 8 pi by 4 will be 2 pi. So your period is remain 2 pi. Now the good part is, now you know your first point and last point on the x-axis. Okay, if this is my axis and I know my points now. What are my points? First point should be pi by 4. This is pi by 4, so I'm taking pi by 4. My last point is 9 pi by 4. So this method you will get all the points very easily. And if you remember your sine graph has 5 points, 1 2 3 4 5. And if you remember, you have to, this should be on the top of your head. The zeros are first, third, and fifth, and the graph will be like this. This is the parent graph, if you know these points. So I need 5 points in all. So 2 points I am having. Find the midpoint of this. How will you find the midpoint of this? Add this to, add 9 pi by 4 and pi by 4, which will be 10 pi by 4, and divide by 2. So it will be 5 pi by 4. So the midpoint is 5 pi by 4. What did I do? You can do it mentally, but I'm just showing you 4 pi by 4 plus 9 pi by 4 divided by 2, which is 10 pi by 4 divided by 2, which is 5 pi by 2 divided by 2, which is 5 pi by 4. I hope you know the fraction divisions. So basically, when you divide by 2, instead of putting it down here, you can put it side also. That way also it will be much more easier. So instead of putting it down, multiply there. So 5 pi by 2. Same way, if you do it now, you try to do it mentally. 5 plus 1, 6 pi by 4 divided by 2, 6 pi by 8. So it will be 3 pi by 4. And this guy will be do the same method, 7 pi by 4. Now you got all the 5 points. Yes. And now you know that where will be my y-axis. If you have noticed, I have not drawn the y-axis ahead of time. Now I know that my y-axis will be somewhere here. And so my origin is this. If you want to extend this, you can extend that. So your first 0 should be here, third 0 should be here, and the fourth 0 should be here. And if you see, the amplitude is not changing, which is 1 and -1. So your maximum and minimum will be here. So you know your graph will look like this. It should pass through this point, and put it arrowhead. Now if you see your teacher's answer key, or your teachers will say that, oh, my graph looks like something, I will make it in different colors so that you will get it. Green. Okay, if you continue, it should pass through -1. If you continue this, you will say it will pass through -pi/4. So your teacher graph might look like this, and you will think your answer key is not matching your answer. Observe carefully, these points are same. You started from this point, and you'll say that how will I know that there is negative? Because 0 pi/4, that is -pi/4. And how the zeros, what is the difference between the zeros? If you say 5 pi/4 plus pi by difference is -5/4, which is pi, right? Difference between the zeros are pi, so this is pi. In every pi difference you will get the zeros, so you can keep on continue the graph. So you got the graph by your own way, without using AI or without using any other mathematical tools, right? So I hope you can hold the video, you can double check and know how the phase shift have. Okay, here I forgot to talk about it. So what will be the domain? Domain is all real number. Range is still not changing, amplitude is not changing, midline is not changing, so range is -1 to 1. And how about the zeros? As I say, do this method. Your teacher should not give you wrong at any times. So check the first zero always. What is my first zero? Pi/4, right? Pi/4. Now check the difference between each zero. So what is the difference between, you just found, right? It is pi, pi, pi. So plus pi k. So this is the 0, comma 0. So what are my zeros? Pi/4 plus pi k, comma 0. If you have any question on this, you can put it in the comment. I will be more than happy to answer you back. There is another way of finding the zeros. If there is no other stretch and shrink, if you observe your parent function, I am erasing this, just I am giving another method of getting the zero, but it's optional. If you understand it, good. Otherwise, this is the method you can always follow. I'm erasing everything. If you remember, your parent function was something like this, which was 0 to 2 pi, and period was pi. So period is sorry, not period, 0 is pi k. So if you see, the period is 2 pi, zeros are half of that, pi k 0. So whatever, suppose if I say period is 8 pi, for sine graph I'm talking about, then the zeros will be 4 pi k, comma 0. You're getting it? So for sine graph and cosine graph, whatever the period is, whatever period you're finding in the transformed graph, zeros will be half of it. Okay, let's do some complicated question. Now if you check my previous video, which is part 4a, you will see I have done the rest of the basic transformations. Now we have completed all the transformation. Now the time to do some complicated question with all the transformation together. So let me pick a complicated question. Yes. So y is equal to -2 sine x/4. I hope, okay. -2 sine x/4, x/4 minus x/4 I'm saying, I'm writing 2. Okay, x/4 and pi/4. And I'm not adding anything, so my midline I'm keeping it same. I'm not adding anything means I'm not doing anything here right now, as of now. But yes, we'll do that kind of question also. If you say it's a vertical reflection, means my sine graph is this, parent sine graph, and the transformed graph will look like this, the red one. Okay, it should be upside down. Okay, so you should have that in your mind at once looking at the question, that okay, my graph will look like that. That is the first thing. Amplitude will be 2, so my graph will be but from 2 to -2. That is another thing. Now about this, if you remember your normal transformation from your previous functions, if you take out 1/4, it will be x minus pi. 1/4 is what? It's a horizontal stretch by 4. Horizontal, the normal period for sine is 2 pi. So if it's a horizontal stretch, it should be 8 pi. So if you are smart enough, from the equation itself, you are getting all this stuff. And it is moving right by, this guy is giving right. So, and it is moving right by pi. So you know your period, you know what is the transformation going to happen, how the graph will look like. But that's okay. If you cannot figure it out, that one, perfectly fine. You can go theoretically and then do the graph. Like what? As I said, let's do the zeros. How? Not zeros, sorry, period. What is the method I said? Whatever is the argument of the sign, let x over 4 minus pi over 4, and the normal period of sine is 0 to 2 pi. I'm taking as, add pi, solve for x, add pi by 4 on both the sides, so it will be x over 4, and it will be pi by 4 to 9 by 4. So then subtract, sorry, excuse me, multiply 4 to all the terms, so it will be pi x and 9 pi. So now you know your graph is between these points, and it can extend, but this point will give you a very close look to your graph, and you can not struggle in finding rest of the points. And what is the period? The other method of finding the period, upper interval minus lower interval, 9 pi minus pi, which is 8 pi. Remember I said it was a horizontal stretch by 4, so it will be multiplied by 8 pi. It will become 8 pi. So you got this period. Now let's try to draw the graph. As I said, just draw the x-axis. Okay, just draw the x-axis, figure out the points. What is my first point? Pi. What is my last point? 9 pi. What will be my middle point? 5 pi. Add and divide by 2. What will be this? 3 pi. Add this 2 and divide by 2. 6 pi divided by 2 will be 3 pi. Got it? So that is gone. My line got erased out. Okay, and this one will be 7 pi. So you have all the 5 points that you need, and now you can easily draw your y-axis. So that means y-axis is somewhere here. You'll understand why I'm drawing the y-axis like that when we will do a horizontal shift left side. Anyway, so now my amplitude is, if you see, the amplitude is 2, so my top point should be 2, bottom point should be -2, and the graph is upside down because it's a vertical reflection. So my zeros are here, here, and here, and the minimum and maximum will be here. So I got my graph. If I want to extend, I can put arrowhead and the graph should be good. So what are your what is your amplitude? 2. If you have to write the attributes, amplitude is 2, domain is all real number, range is -2 to 2, and zeros, most important. Remember, as I said, write the first 0, and each 0 is a difference of, what is the difference? 5 pi minus pi is 4 pi. So remember, it is always half of the period, and we got the period as 8 pi. Half of the period is 4 pi. You can go by that way also. So zeros, but you have to write the first 0, pi plus 4 pi k comma 0. So that will be your zeros. So you got the attributes, you know how the function graphed, and also you can see the transformation from here, that it is a vertical stretch by 2, vertical reflection, it is a horizontal stretch by 4, and moving right by pi. See, all the transformation is done. So you can hold the video, do the same question. Your homework, here is your homework, copy down your homework, is same question. I'm not changing anything, just write for cos. X over 4 minus pi over 4. Look at your cos parent function and do this transformation. Okay, I'm moving on. Let me do next question. This time let me do something like moving right. Okay, let me do some cos function with the moving right. Okay, y is equal to, I'm trying to do a complicated question, sorry for that, -3 cos of what should I do 2x minus pi and plus 2. Okay, looks complicated, right? But it will not. Let's see, what are the transformation? Vertical stretch by 3, it's a reflection. If you remember, your cos parent graph looks like this, so reflection, so it will be Why cannot I see this one, right? So it will go upside down of the cos parent function, and our amplitude will be from -3 to amplitude is 3. Sorry, I got distracted. Okay, let's try to see what is happening here. That is the most important thing, right? You have to find the period. So how to do it? If you want to see the transformation without drawing the graph, if you remember, you have to isolate x to, this is negative, you have to take that x out. The moment I'm taking that x out, it will be pi by 2 plus 2. So what is happening? It's a vertical stretch by 3, vertical reflection, horizontal shrink by half, and moving, actually let me put it plus, and moving left by pi by 2. Left, this time I'm doing left, okay? That will help you in knowing when the graph moves left how it works. And also the whole graph is moving up by 2. That means the midline is 2. Now in our normal graph, this is the midline. Now my midline will be here at 2. Okay, so let's try. Let's first find the period. Okay, you can see the period is, as I said, actual period was 2 pi. Now it's a horizontal shrink by half, so the period will be pi. And your teacher will give you that formula, what? Do 2 pi by b. Yeah, that you will get that formula anyways. So it is 2 pi by, what is b? That is 2. So it is pi. So you can go by your teacher's formula, but your teacher's formula will not give you the first point or the last point and all the other points. So go by my method. It will be easier for you. Okay, so what is the, how to find the first point and the last point? I am writing 2x plus pi. You can take this one also. If you do not want to do this, okay, I will do your way so that you guys will not get confused. So I am taking whatever is given as the argument. This one, cos function is also, period is 2 pi. So subtract pi from both the sides. So it will be 2x. If I subtract pi, I will get pi, right? If I divide by 2 from all the term, so negative pi by 2 x and pi by 2. So you got it that your graph is between negative, your graph is between negative pi by, if I am not, okay, negative pi by 2 to negative pi by 2 to pi by 2. So we can see that means my y-axis will be here easily, right? So which is 0. If I add them and find the midpoint, that will be 0, which will be my y-axis. So my y-axis will be here. That's the reason I do not write the y-axis. And what else is there? What will be the midpoint here? What will be the midpoint and what will be the midpoint? It is negative pi by 4 and it is positive pi by 4. You got all the 4 points for the cos graph. And the midline is 2. So I have to go up by 2. So there will be a midline here. So midline, if you have to write. And also what is the period here? Period, if you have to find this method, pi by 2 minus negative pi by 2, which is pi by 2 plus pi by 2 pi. Anywhere it's a vertical horizontal shrink by half, so it will become 2 pi become pi, period is pi. So your amplitude, if you have to write the attributes, amplitude is 3, period is pi, midline is y equal to 2. You got all these 3 attributes. We'll come to the rest of attributes later. So amplitude is 3. From this point go up by 3, 1 2 3, so it will be 5. And from that point, if you go down by 3, it will be negative 1. So you know the range of your graph, and you know the zeros of cos graph. If you remember the zeros of, if there's 5 points, right? 1 2 3 4 5, the zeros are the second and the third point. It's like this, even if it is upside down, right? So my zeros are this and this. So put those points here. Those are the zeros, and it will be upside down. So your minimum will be here, go down here, and maximum will be here. So I think we got all the points. So if you observe, I found one of my student made a mistake by passing through this point. No, it should pass through this point because the graph has moved up. So this acts as an x-axis now. Okay, no more this one. So your graph is same amplitude, same maximum above and minimum below from this line, not this line anymore. So that means it should pass through these points. We will not talk about the zeros of this function as of now. You can see that you cannot get the zeros right away, right? There is another way of finding the zero. I'm going to make another video on that. So right now why it is upside down? Because of the negative sign. And I think we did our graph well. Everything is covered. If you have to find the domain is all real number. Range, yes, range will be, it should not go below that point, it should go up. Okay, I made a mistake there. It should not go there. It should keep going up. So my range is, domain is all real number. Range will be from -1 to 5. I hope you understand. Do the same exact question, just replace this cos as sine and do that homework. I hope this is more than enough for you guys, and do some more worksheet on this. Have great time. Enjoy your pre-calculus trig ratios, graphing trig ratios. Okay, see you guys.